Grandma's about to be on. David Whitley is in the orange and blue room. It's the Buddy Martin Show. Tell your friends and neighbors we are on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Well, good evening and hello. Welcome. Lots of stuff popping tonight. My goodness. What a recruiting week it is. We've got a new NIL deal going called Florida Victorious. A little insight on that for you. Gators come back in baseball to beat Florida State 5-3 for the 15th time they've come back this year. And my Rays, Tampa Bay Rays, just putting it on the Red Sox tonight again. Last time I looked, it was 7-1, which is what it is now. Home run city, and the Rays are about to go. Is it 11? No, I can't even count that high. So much good stuff going on. All right, so stand by. Right in the orange and blue room is the inimitable style of my friend David Whitley. He's back. We're going to hear from Meldon Law first.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Meldon Law, they won't back down, and neither will this guy. He's always right up there in your face. Well, not really. It's not his style, but he's always there when you need him. Like tonight, we're glad to have him back. We missed him last week. Our ratings just dropped off completely last week because David Whitley was not available. But he's back. He's got his caviar and his champagne, and he got his ride tonight, his limo and the Bentley. So he's back under contract and working. Hello, David.
Hello, buddy. Yes, yeah, the Bentley was riding very smoothly tonight.
Was it
I
good?
appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, well, I brought the ribbon out tonight for a change. And I didn't want you to feel like it was Georgia colors, but I had to show you off a little bit. So every now and then the ribbon's got to be taken for a spin because the orange and blue ones are always just being used all the time. And I wanted you to have the red Bentley tonight. You deserve it. So, how are you, David?
I'm fine. I wish I had a Tampa Bay hat because goodness gracious,
I broke it out. I
11-0.
Keep it there. Listen, I'm not even. I wear it. I'm not a buddy come lately. I wear this every year. I wear it also when they lose, but now I figure, well, it's a little break in the action. Let's put it out there. What a story the Rays are right now, huh?
Yeah, I think I don't think 162-0 is out of the question the way they're playing.
Yeah, they're going to go all the way, win every game. I tell you, the
An
numbers are
undefeated baseball team.
Yeah, it's fun to.
Well, that's just it. They're not just winning. I mean, they are just killing people,
dominating
I don't think
people.
That anybody, yeah. And it's just so. I think back. I'm old enough to remember when the Braves, I think, started 13-0. I think in 1982, and how excited people were about that. And it's obviously it's a long season, and they're not going to go 162-0. But man, this is the way you want to start. And I just could this be the year finally? I don't know. I don't know. Kevin Cash, good manager. I mean, there's so many things that could happen, but it just does your heart good to see that this team with a $63 million payroll is beating doing so well again. I mean, the Yankees alone. I think Aaron Judge alone is $63 million
Yeah, exactly.
or
Yeah,
thereabouts.
And
So
they're such
it
a
just
fun
gives you
team.
faith.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fun to watch, aren't they?
It gives you faith that sometimes that money can't buy everything.
Well, there you go. That's
Which
it.
might
Now,
be a good segue into the new NIL.
well, there we go. And I'm glad you brought that up because, among other things, I mean, it's been a really good day for my teams for the most part. And we don't talk much baseball. We talk a lot of golf lately because of the Masters. But I think let's get right to the heart of it, which is the story that I think we all want to know more about. Florida victorious. I saw it today. I thought, what is that exactly? And then I saw a story posted, and I read the AP story and realized this is a new NIL deal. This takes the place of what they had when they got embarrassed. Unfortunately, and I'm afraid the Gator Connection got blamed for their shot of deal. I don't think it was all Eddie Rojas' fault. But Eddie Rojas, I actually spoke to him tonight. Going to have him on the show later in the week. We talked about a lot of things, and he was the one who got to decide who to sell it to. And I'm curious to know who this guy is.
Jose Costa?
Jose Costa, yeah. And I hear this much. I've done a little research on it. He's a billionaire, okay? Mm-hmm. So he's a man of means. And I'm told, in the little bit of time I had to research it, they have multiple offers, including a number of former Gator players who wanted to buy it. But apparently, Eddie got to pick, and he picked this young Mr. Acosta, who I understand is in the tree business. I'm not,
horticulture.
Yeah,
You're something of a horticulturist yourself, although I don't think you made $1 billion at it quite yet.
Not quite, but I got my plants. Yeah. I got my indoor, my buddytowers.com, man. Now I'm growing those green ones. I'm growing those green ones, and I'm eating the food, and I'm loving it. And there it is right now. You brought it up. You called for it. So I got to show my little tower off. There you go. All those luscious greens. This is an old crop. I got a new crop coming of a bunch of good stuff. So, yeah, that's my little buddytowers.com thing. So, David, it's a story that ordinarily we don't get to work on. So, like a Wall Street Journal story. What do you think? What do you know about this organization? What do you think about the way I'm not sure of the infrastructure, who he reports to, but I think Acosta now is like head of the UAA committee or something. Do you know anything about that?
The way I understand it, and I don't know if I have all the details correct. Yeah, Costa, I didn't know he was a billionaire. I knew he was quite wealthy. His family owns, I think it's the largest horticultural company in America, not the world, based out of Miami. He's a UF grad on a number of boards there. And I spoke today with the CEO. He's the founder of this, and spoke today with the CEO, a guy named Nate Barbera, and an impressive guy. He went to Notre Dame and got his MBA from Harvard Business School, and started a number of companies. One of which I wish I could remember. Shrink It or something, where if you had a garment that was shrunk or shrank or shrunken, whatever the proper terminology, it would restore it. And he came up with this, and he actually sold it on Shark Tank. You know, the show with Mark Cuban and all that.
I watched that show. Yeah.
And so he started a number of businesses. He's working on a venture capital deal, and that's how he got to know Costa. And so they're based in Miami, and he said about last June, Costa came with him, and that's when they first actually got involved with UF in an NIL type of thing. With it was called the acronym is FAST, Florida. I don't know, but it was basically they were setting up NIL deals that were about 40 or 50 athletes were working for nonprofits and getting some money through that. This is basically just a huge expansion of that. And also that's the nonprofit aspect of the for-profit is where what the Gator Collective is doing, going out, raising money through memberships. And basically they're raising money to pay athletes, which is the coin of the realm now. in college sports. But they are, I mean, frankly, they're taking a business approach to it. These guys are obviously know their business, which is a pun, but I mean, they know how to start companies, how companies run from a managerial aspect. It sounds like much more streamlined, organized, and just a level of professionalism that, frankly, you have to have in the NIL world now.
Right.
It is, yeah. It's cliche to say, the sports have become big business, but it has, and so you need you need serious businessmen to run an NIL, and that's what these guys are. They have brought aboard other people with, I mean, the staff I think is 6, 7 deep. I guess don't remember all the names off my head, but they have college experience in various things, fundraising. The college, some have worked in for the colleges. Gene Grosso, who is working for the Gator Collective, is also coming over. All seem very smart people, and the bottom line is you got to go out and raise money these days, and a lot of it, and because you're in a tough neighborhood. We talk about the SEC being a tough neighborhood just on the field. Off the field, it is too. You're dealing with some deep pockets at Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, and what all these schools have found in the last year or so, when it started up, each school probably had 2 or 3 collectives, and as did Florida. Florida had the Gator Collective, the Gator Guard. And they had its own in-house sort of thing where fans could donate and get experiences with the players. Everybody's finding out they were competing for the same dollar, and this makes it easier for a fan that is sort of like a one-stop shop. I want to be a part of this Gator and help the NIL. This is where you go now, and they've got. It's a monthly thing, it goes from $15 a month up to $250 a month. Although they too take, larger gifts. The Gator Guard, which is the big money organization that Hugh Hathcock started, he is on this board, so they have been incorporated into this as well. Basically, they're just getting the act together on the NIL, and it's the whole thing is like a growth process. As you said, Eddie Rojas. I think he's gotten sort of a raw deal in some of the Rashada thing because the Gator Collective, which he ran, they would get the contracts for these guys, but in the Rashada deal, someone else promised him the money, some big Gator booster, and the Gator Collective just wrote the contract, which Rashada signed. Well, then, there were ways out of the contract, and so at some point, the person who's going to come up with the money decided, I'm not going to pay $13 million for a quarterback. Either he didn't have the money or he realized what folly that was when you're paying. But the contract said he would have been getting $250,000 a month this year, even though he had never taken a snap.
David Whitley, money right there. And by the way, Eddie, I'm not saying this because he's on right now, saying go Gators. I've said this before. He was a pioneer, and it was his decision not to revoke that contract. And of course, he got some blame for it. I think unjustly. Everybody had a part in it, and Eddie had his part, but it wasn't his fault. So he made the decision who to sell to. They think this guy Costa is the guy, and the guy who's got the money and the time to devote to it, and the organization. So, congratulations to all, and I think maybe we can move on past the Jaden Rashada. The fiasco everybody talked about now and say what's going to happen now. It's a new deal. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm anxious to find out how that all turns out. But meanwhile, Florida is on a recruiting tear, both in basketball and in football here lately. And, I know you don't imbibe in it too much, nor do I. But among the things that happened, basketball had some big gets. They were making they're calling Todd Golan's transfer class the number one in the country in terms of pickups and portal people, and the ones they got the last couple of days are really big time. The guy from Iona and whatever, the guy from Marshall, And now they got this guy Keenan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Connor Keenan Daniels from West Point, Mississippi, in football, and he's a 4-star. Ran for over 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns as a junior. Had offers from Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, Oregon, among others. So things are cooking on the recruiting front just in the nick of time to get a little uptick for this weekend, the Orange and Blue game, which, by the way, I still don't have the information on when it's going to be televised and where, but I'll have it by tomorrow, and we'll find out. So I don't know. Again, it does feel like, to me, by the way, the Red Sox scored 7-2 now. It does feel to me like there are things happening there suddenly in Hogtown.
Yeah, it's funny how good recruiting news puts a smile on everybody's face, even though you're dealing with guys you won't see for a year, and it's always very, tenuous whether they'll even pan out. But man, nothing gets the blood flowing like saying, "Hey, we got this kid, we got that kid," and yeah, it's the news is good, and I'm sure they will have a bunch of guys at the Orange and Blue game Thursday night that they will hope to impress. Of course, a lot of those guys will move on to other spring games on Saturday with schools that are hoping to impress them as well. But you can see the fruits of the labor are starting to come in, and it's not quite as iffy when you're talking about basketball recruits now. And so, and you're right. I mean, what has happened just this week is a reason for is really good. I was talking to somebody really close to the basketball program, and he said just Saturday, he said, I've had a couple of guys in that they really, really think will make a difference, but we're holding our breath. And he mentioned the 7-1 kid
from Marshall.
Who's Holger. I'm not even sure how to pronounce the name.
Well, we'll try to figure it out. We're working on that.
And the guard, he said, says he was in here, he loved it, but he's going back to St. John's tomorrow, and we're not sure, but we're on the bubble. But if we get those two, we're going to be feeling very good about things. Lo and behold, got the big guy yesterday or 2 days ago. He committed, and then the guard committed yesterday. And this is how this is what college basketball has become. You remake teams on the fly, but you can remake them really well if you get the right players.
Faster in basketball.
Yeah. And so, I mean, these two guys are guys you're going to be logging a lot of minutes this coming year.
Yeah. Well, repeat after me. You're 7'1". Micah Hanlogten.
Okay.
Hanlogten. H-A-N-D, hand. I'm just going to L-O-G, log, and T-E-N. I guess it's Hanlogten. Right?
He'll be a household name by November.
No doubt about it. We'll call him Handy or whatever.
Yeah. He'll come up with something.
Yeah.
But, it's funny. This is also, you're seeing the NIL at work here too. Because, rest assured that these guys didn't come here just for the weather. Then again, they were getting offers from everybody. But if Florida went in a position to offer this money, they'd be somewhere else. So
the weather ain't bad compared to where he is up in West Virginia. And here's a list from a guy named EvanMia.com. I guess he's an expert on transfer. Here's the top 10 transfer classes according to him as of today. Number 10, Penn State. Number 9, Austin P. Number 8, Providence. Number 7, Houston. Number 6, Tulsa. Number 6, Tulsa. Number 5, Arkansas. Number 4, West Virginia. 3, Michigan. LSU's 2, and the Florida Gators are number 1 on this list in terms of transfer.
Yeah, I know. Right. It must have felt good when they beat Rick Pitino and St. John's for the for the guard, because that's a that was I'm sure that was a tough decision for the kid, but he's from Florida, and he really wanted to come here, and this is what they got, and they're not done yet, but those were the two that they really wanted to get, and so there was I'm sure some champagne glasses being clinked around the basketball office yesterday.
There's so much pressure now too to get this done right away with it. And when you talk about $100 million facilities that you've already got, $110 million facilities, and you got the NIL deal for money, and you got the University of Florida's academic program, and you got Gainesville, which is not a terrible place to live. You kind of expect them to have some success, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, this is we've entered the no excuse zone here,
Yeah, I
really,
like that. Yeah,
because for years with football it was always, well, they don't have a facility, and that's what the slack that
right,
people were cutting
right.
Dan Mullen, and that was a problem with the recruiting there. Well, we never really saw what Dan might have done if he had the facility. I don't think it would have made a difference because I don't recruiting was just one of the issues with that, but yeah, there's no reason that that they can't. I mean, there's nothing that the school lacks that you would think other schools. Well, they're better at this, better. I mean, that every school has a lot. That a kid might appeal to. That might appeal to a kid, but when you stack it all up, Florida, it probably from everything you mentioned, from the weather and that, and if they getting their NIL act together, the academics and all that, it's a pretty good sales pitch that they can put out there. That doesn't mean obviously that they're going to get it all, because a lot of good sales pitches out there too. When Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Lincoln Riley come into your living room, but if you're just a recruit sitting anywhere and you're making a list of schools that might interest you, and Billy Napier calls it, it's probably worth picking up the phone to at least hear what he has to say now.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. I don't know what you noticed about some of the comments of the players. And it seems to me the ones I've heard, the interviews I've heard and read in depth, that there's been a very positive feedback from the players. Now, I know that players want to talk positive about their coaches, but I can recognize hype from I think, and you can too, we've been in this business a while. I'm seeing a lot of genuine comments from players about the coaching changes. Probably none more than Austin Armstrong, who they really seem to like a lot. He's the kind of guy who gets them fired up. And, the Corey Raymond move was pretty genius. It had to happen, and it did. And it really made a big, big difference. And, of course, Billy Gonzalez was a home run. So those three moves right there, that tells me, and the reaction they're getting from their players tells me there's something there that they didn't have last year. I mean, I had Shane on the show last night. He isn't there. He's coaching. By the way, his offense, he's calling plays now, is second in the league. They went from last to second in just 4 games, although he didn't have any good players. But anyway, the deal is that it seems like the responses from these coaches is making a difference. And you hear the kind of talk. And I thought to myself, what are the things this team has lacked on defense in recent years? And there's kind of that I hate to use the cliche, but true grit, the real bonding of each other, and the really hard-nosed. I wrote a column last week talking about, Ben Hogan said, the secret's in the dirt in golf. It's in the dirt in football too. You know what I mean? And it seems like the hard work and the willingness to work and the work ethic and the attitude of these players. Now, I'm not going to predict any great things to the team. I think we just want to see some change, and I think at least I sense it from what I read and hear and whatever, and people I've talked to. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm being overly optimistic.
Well, that's your nature to be optimistic, which is good. That makes you who you are. I don't know if you've been overly optimistic, but you're right. They're always going to say good things, but there's also sort of a BS meter that is built in that you can tell. The difference of people just saying something and those who really believe it and who feel genuine about it. And you do get a sense that they're really buying in to these changes.
Yeah, that's the key word right there. Yeah.
And that because you didn't feel that even last year, and it was obvious on the field. Some of it is, no matter how hard you buy in, you have to have talent, the talent that buys it. And so they're upgrading that, but they've had talented players before that weren't buying in, and that was even worse. Anyway, it's more frustrating when you see, like I said, the defense is disjointed, and some guys were just in it for themselves. It seemed like I sense
Mullen
that
even said it. Mullen said this last year.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of next to last year. bunch of independent contractors.
Yeah,
And
and it's funny, and defensively, it seems it just seems more of a gang warfare attitude, and where that gang it's us against them mentality is more prevalent on defense and more beneficial if the right defense has it.
Yeah,
and you sense that there's that camaraderie there.
No doubt about it. And that is the key to the defense, in my opinion. That's the glue.
Yeah, and and again, we won't truly know the results for months, but you want to at least see the evidence of it in April and May right here, and we'll at least get a look at it Thursday night. It'll be hard. It's always hard to gauge.
What are you looking for? Are we all looking to know what's going on with the quarterbacks? That's the
right.
Big story. Yeah, that's a
given. Well, that's the given. I'm sort of curious. At wide receiver, the young kids who are coming in, Andy Jean, who are looking so good in practice, to see what kind of burst they have. Because that's been the lack until Ricky Pearsall was the exception, especially at FSU. But that wasn't exactly a big play repository the last couple of years.
Yep.
So and they addressed that in recruiting supposedly. So it'd be nice to get a good first look at them on Thursday night too, and that's all part of the passing game. It's because it's always hard to tell, again, but But just how will these DBs match up against them and this rebuilt defense? It's going.
We will be able to tell about that. You can't so much. We won't see many blitz packages. I expect the running game to be really good because they got some terrific running backs, and they're going to want them to get some yardage and whatever. The thing I go back to is I thought they could have gotten more out of their wide receiver core last year than they did. And I understand that the coaching change was made because he went all the way out to USC, and he's very well regarded. But when I read what Billy Gonzalez said, and I read what Napier said about Gonzalez, and read what the players said, I mean, Gonzalez, he didn't do this very often. He really praised Ricky Pearsall. To the level of the next level up in terms of his work ethic and his ability and his speed and his touch and his desire. And Gonzalez just never did that for the receiver, Now, I understand he's trying to motivate him, whatever, and I get it. But and then he talked about the amazing, amazing potential of Mizell, the other freshman, I just drew a blank, Andy Jean, both those guys, and of course we still got others, and Henderson's getting a lot of praise out there too. So that would make now you're not going to have the same quarterback. We're going to see whether or not Mertz can hit these guys in the open. But if you put two and two together, you say, all right, running game, offensive line, good receivers, pretty good pass blockers at running back. That when you get the running game going, play action ought to work, And what's it about? Getting guys in open spaces. They have some guys that can get in open spaces. Now, can they get the ball to them?
Right. Well, and that's the question. Can they get it consistently? I mean, that was the problem last year. With AR, you never knew. Some games he was on, but some games it was always a roll of the dice. And you, if anything, that you feel more confident with a guy like Mertz or Miller, is that they, they're not going to wow you, but they can just deliver the mail more consistently, hit those guys, and we shall see. But that's it's been Mertz's calling card anyways, but more consistent. Of course, he was also hitting the other hitting defensive backs with passes on a little bit too regularly, which led a lot of interceptions. But it is a new approach, and when you mentioned the running back, really I was thinking, what is the proven commodity on this team? And basically on offense, it pretty much right now starts and ends with running back. Because a lot of question marks otherwise, but those two, that's a pretty good thing to build with. Big question mark off, with so many new guys on that offensive line.
Yeah.
We don't know, but new guys on the defensive line, so it'd be funny to see how they match up Thursday night.
Yeah, for sure. Um, how have you been doing at trivia lately? When we have Lauren on, have you had gotten any of the answers yet? What do you think?
I think I got half of one right recently,
That's
which
about my
doesn't.
record. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
about my
it
record.
won't give me into Final Jeopardy.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give you another chance. All right.
All right.
We're going to give you another chance so you can check it out. First, I'm going to do this commercial for our good friends at Titan MRI, and then we're going to have call our buddy Lauren in and let you play trivia.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, thanks, Jeff Cardoza. Jeff is very happy tonight about the Gators having their 15th comeback win. And the Rays, as we speak, are 7-2 in it's a final now. They're now 11-0. Just remember, okay, I'm not a Johnny come lately. Like some of these guys, like Lauren, he'll try to claim him now. I know Noah Lauren. Yeah, there he is right there. What's up, Lauren?
San Francisco Giants all the way.
Pal, you ain't got no shot here. You ain't got no shot with you. Come on.
Hey, I'm true to the game.
500. Most people are Braves fans. Second evening to David.
How you doing, sir? Always a pleasure.
Lauren.
And I'm gonna throw this up there. You ready to do the trivia now? You want to wait? Got to get David on it, don't we?
It's your show, sir.
All right, we'll do.
Sure.
We'll ask one question, and then we'll give David this test and see what he can do. We're going to get Kyle on here to talk about the baseball game. Did you watch that, Lauren? Did you watch any of the
Yeah, I did watch a little bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice win by Sully. Is FSU ever going to beat Sully? I mean, really, think about it.
FSU been struggling every.
Yeah.
Didn't they start? They started like 10-2, and then they've lost like 11 straight or something like that. It's something crazy.
All it seems to take is that Florida gets in their bullpen, and once they get in there, and they have some pretty good pitchers, those lefties especially. They just seem like they get into it, don't they? They seem to handle it. So, got a few Braves fans chirping up right now. So, all right. So, Lauren, David, and I were just chatting about the mental attitude and outlook of things now, and you're out there now and then, and again, I know I'm accused of being the sunshine popper and all that, but it's again, I'll repeat what I really think, and I'll get your response. And it feels like there's something going on. All the good news, including the basketball good news. I got Walter Clayton tonight. Apparently, he's made that decision from Alabama, and the basketball program is 3. And now the baseball team will come back at number 15. We got the Orange and Blue game on Thursday night. By the way, I'll have information tomorrow on that. Right now, all I know is you can go to ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus and find it, but you can't tape it now. I tried to go on tonight and tape it, ESPN Plus, but I won't be here. But you can't. But I'm told, an inside source told me that they're going to have broadcast information, which leads me to believe they probably didn't want to tell everybody. They wanted to come to the game, not tell them until today. So I guess. So that's what's going on there. And you know about the Gator Collective being sold, Lauren, and the new Florida Victorious?
Yes, sir.
And so
that's
some good things happening, Lauren.
Well, I think, I'll take the latter first. I think a lot of people have talked about it. With NIL, I think you're going to see some of these changes as you go forward. It's kind of revisions of the revision and things like that as teams and athletic programs look to get a handle on this thing. And if you remember, one of the things that I thought that I'll give Billy Napier and his staff credit for, and really Florida as a whole, is I think when this thing lands on a definitive stamp, I think the Florida Gators are going to be in a good position because I think they played the long game all along, and with some of the issues that were with the Gator Collective, and people could talk about that and give their opinion, but how quickly it's already evolved into something that I think a lot more people are involved in, that they bought into, seem to have a clearer vision on things is. An indication of where this thing is headed and where Florida is going to be in position to be kind of at the forefront and be prepared to the changing landscape of college sports. And then, as far as the other sports are concerned, I think as we go forward, sports are important in Florida. It's the everything school, and athletics is key. And I think that there is reason to be optimistic about the football team in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I'm probably one of the more, even David and I have had some private conversations of some concerns and things like that. But I think the more you talk to people that are around the program and things like that, they truly believe in the direction that this program is going. And I think that, everybody seems to be bought into Billy Napier's vision, at least within the Hefner Center. And that goes a long way. A lot of people could talk about what you do offensively, what you do defensively, but if it's sound and your people believe in it, then you're going to be successful. So, I think as things go forward, and like Michael Burton said, Eddie Rojas broke ground, and then, things will move on. But I think there's definitely reasons to be optimistic. Now, obviously, all that optimism could go away, probably not after the spring game, but, about 20 minutes into the night, out in Salt Lake City, people could feel a different way. But right now, why wouldn't you be optimistic? And what's that old hope springs eternal? Well, there you go. The spring is time where you can be optimistic about things. And I think a lot of people want to get a good look at Graham Mertz and others and the new look defense and what it'll look like. Because like we said, it doesn't really matter who plays quarterback. If we don't get more stops, the Florida Gators, that is, on defense, it doesn't matter. They have to get the opposing offenses off the field. I think when you really go back and look at it, it just too many times, third and long and things like that, and teams were just able to continue drives and that kind of thing. So I think it just, we'll see. Long way to go even after the spring game, but definitely don't consider yourself a pumper. You're just an optimist. That's what it is, not a sunshine pumper.
David and I have determined together that this defense needs and may get more grit. You got to have that, like we talked about last week, with Seekers in the dirt, getting down there in the dirt and really getting it done. And it feels like that's what's happening. And I think David mentioned too that defense is different. You have to have that little extra something, the bond that, the bunch of dogs, right? Or what they say, it's us against the world, And I think that's what
I call it a bounce. You got to have that bounce, when the team, when it's third down, you got to have that bounce that, it's just, you see those teams, they bouncing around. They got that mentality, that them Gator chimes start going off. You got to feel that, and you got to get the other team off the field.
It's like me and David, when we walk on the dance floor, we kind of bounce a little bit, and we're serious. We get out there, here they come,
right?
That bounce thing. Let's see how David can bounce this question. All right, and you have to not tell us out loud, but if you think you got it, just text me, David. And let's get all right. You folks know. By the way, you want to tell people. Lauren goes out there every Tuesday. I think he goes to order some food to go to. But anyway, he goes out every Tuesday to Spurrier's, and he does a little trivia out there, and he videos it, comes back, and then and I think he's got a secret relationship with the guys out at Spurrier's Grand Grill, because he gets swag he gives away these things, and every week he has a drawing every 4 weeks, and they get a little something. So Lauren, here's tonight's question. And you can whisper it in my ear if you want to, so I'll know. Hold on.
Lauren Meadows with Gator Babe Media coming to you live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill with Tuesday Night Trivia. What two former Florida receivers hold the record for the most catches in a game. Here's a hint. One of them was a guest on the Buddy Martin Show. Once again, which two former Florida Gators hold the Florida record for most receptions in a game? Be the first to answer and you'll be entered into our drawing for swag and other prizes. With Gator Bait Media, this is Lauren Meadows.
Okay, I think I know who one was on the show, but anyway, that's about it. Think you know, David?
I'd be taking semi-educated guesses.
Yeah, okay, but don't do it now. Don't give
Mm-hmm.
anybody a lead up. All right, so David, your final thoughts on the week and the direction and what you would like to see out of Thursday night's Orange and Blue game.
Shoot, I would, if I'm a Gator fan, again, it all starts with QB, and that's something it's going to be hard to tell line wise what's ones versus twos and what's going on there, but they're going to pretty much sink or swim with Graham Mertz, I think. So you want him to have a good outing. You want to be crisp and sharp and again get a look at that new receiving core. You mentioned Billy Gonzalez earlier. I don't think if the receivers do had trouble this year, I don't think that unlike the past that you'll be able to pin it on the coaching because he's proven he knows what to do out there. And one thing you're talking about things and the Gators as a whole we haven't mentioned, but we certainly should is gymnastics this weekend.
They national champion there.
Yeah,
we got a little bit of a scare. If Dan Bunn said he heard a rumor he couldn't track down. He thinks it might have been a fake account that Trinity Thomas wasn't even going to make the trip. But don't.
I am certain she'll make the trip. I think it's there's reason to hold your breath. Of course, there's always reason to hold your breath anytime a gymnast goes out there with the way that sport is. But they are. Obviously losing Trinity Thomas would be rough, but they've got a lot of good. It's not just her on that team. Her not being there might it would be quite the story if they could pull it off without her. I don't know if they can, but there's plenty of people behind her. It's not just a one person team, but if you're a betting person, it started you said what Florida team has the best chance to win a national championship this year? It'd be gymnastics. So that's something that every fan, because it's funny, it won't be conflicting with football this weekend. The old Orange and Blue game. It's if you want to tune in Saturday at 3:30, I think or 4:00, it could be an interesting show.
Don't they have a Thursday? Some kind of I don't know.
Yeah, they got to get by. It starts Thursday night,
yeah.
And you don't assume anything, but
right.
Assuming they get past the semis into the 14 final on Saturday.
Yeah. And by the way, as far as playing without your superstar, that never works. Oh, wait a minute. Percy Harvin didn't play against Alabama the year they beat him for the SEC title. Just remember that, okay? Yeah. So it can't happen, but it's a tough she's such a dominant figure and such a terrific young woman, and I just hope she gets a chance to compete for her sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, David, good stuff as usual. Read him in the Gainesville Sun and all the Gannett papers. What's the latest one this week? Is it on the Florida Victorious group?
Yeah, something. Just weighing in on that now. It's NIL being serious business, and now I think they got some serious businessmen running it.
All right, I'm sure it'll be great, David. Thank you very much. Appreciate you and appreciate your articles too.
Okay. Good night, Lauren. Good night, buddy.
Good night. Good night.
All right. Good seeing you, David.
Hey, one of the good people right there, David Whitley. Well, right around the corner is our friend Kyle, and I know he's got probably a scorebook on a Gator baseball game. Nice win by Florida, and boy, once again, how'd you like to beat Florida State, Lauren? Can't beat Kevin O'Sullivan. He beat him. And, must be frustrating, right?
Got the number. Had the old man's number, had the son's number, and looked like he got the new coach's number too.
Yeah. So we will. Let's go ahead and bring our young man in here, up and comer. He's Lauren Meadows' protege, and here he is right now. He's had a good week, good stuff, and he's under that cap someplace in that shadow. I know he's in there. There he is. There's Kyle. What's up, Kyle Curtis? How you doing?
How are we doing, guys?
We're doing good.
Doing
What an
well.
interesting day, huh?
Crazy day, crazy day. Baseball, it was able to get it done after. I think they had outside of the fifth inning. I think they only had 2 hits, so they were able to still get it done. Not being able to hit to what they've been used to, and then we were able to pick up one of the top transfers in the portal for basketball. So I would say it's
Couple
another
dudes.
successful
Yeah.
offseason day. Oh yeah,
Couple guys in there in football. And Ty Evans got the big home run. God, I flipped it over to watch the Rays right at that time, too. But I went back in time and watched the replay. So, yeah, it's baseball team number 3 in the country. They got Georgia, I believe, this weekend.
yeah.
They should beat Georgia. But again, when Florida's pitching is right, and that's the thing about it, is that when their pitching is right, they're really difficult to beat. No question about it. So, good performance by the Gators, and now they go on next to the Bulldogs.
Yep, and the fact that we were able to get it done without Jack Caglione. Jack Caglione's kind of been in a little mini slump here. He's 0 for 10 in his past 10 at bats. He didn't really have his best. He hasn't pitched well these past 2 Sundays. So, and Ryan Slater was able to go out there and pitch 6 innings
For a
tonight. So
while, he looked really good. For a while,
right,
about
right,
5
and
innings.
yeah, exactly. So 5 innings, and I think that was more so maybe kind of a trial to see if hey maybe we could throw this guy out there on Sunday
Yeah,
and take a little stress off of Caglione. I'm
yeah.
just because I mean it's a lot to go out there and pitch a full game and then expect to go hit 500, a double, and maybe a home run on a given day.
And a
So
tape measure home run like he did in Knoxville, 500 feet
yeah,
almost.
exactly. And then
Yeah,
obviously the Ty Evans, he didn't even start the game tonight. He was also kind of in a little slump, and
yeah,
they brought him in the eighth inning, and
yeah,
he wasn't doing that good against SEC pitching, and he was able to go in there, and he's got the eye for the timely
yeah.
home run. So a good game for the Gators all in all.
You guys both live in Gainesville. The recruiting news has been better this week, both in basketball and football. Picked up a running back. They got some good players in the class of 24. They're narrowing in. It seems like they really seem to have gotten their act together on recruiting. A lot of people are starting to talk about that. Not at the level of Georgia and Alabama, no, but lots of 4 stars, getting players that these guys were after in several cases. Lauren, what have you been feeling and hearing about all that recruiting stuff?
People are excited. I mean, people are pleased. When you bring up Billy Napier, it's kind of the first thing that they kind of go to and say, man, he's been recruiting. He's getting the guys in. So, I mean, I think a lot of people seem to be pretty impressed with the job that he's doing. Like I said, once again, the direction that the program seems to be going. I know that Spurrier's rooftop has been booked. It's booked for about the next 10 weekends for recruiting and different things like that. So obviously, that's kind of a hot spot for the recruiting visits.
Yeah,
But yeah,
what
I
a
mean,
godsend that was for recruiting. Spurriers. I mean, that was
yeah,
can you imagine a
Yeah,
better place to recruit a kid than there?
right.
It's like the museum
and
right there in front of you.
Take him
oh
to
yeah,
Kilwins
yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, for ice cream. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just I think if that's one thing that the people of Gainesville that are Florida fans can find find solace and find something to hang their hat on is I think they feel pretty pleased going forward with the direction that the recruiting's going. So, and you look at the last couple days, positive outlook. A lot of big names coming in on Thursday, which is one of the reasons that they moved the game to Thursday as opposed to a Saturday and things like that. So I think, all those things are centered around recruiting, the fanfare, like you mentioned, even possibly the fact that they haven't announced any broadcast information other than the streaming for the game is to maybe make people, really make sure they pack the swamp and get as many people in there to impress the recruits and things like that. And as they've always said, Billy Napier really doesn't do anything without a reason. It's really detailed. Frustrates me sometimes, but at the same time, definitely has his reasons. And I think a lot of it centers around recruiting, and that's what fans like. So they're headed in the right direction.
All right, Kyle, I'm twisting the arm of Lauren here. I'm going to make him give in to this. Go ahead and concede the American League pennant to the Tampa Bay Rays. You want to join that? And come on, just give it to them. They may go 162 to nothing, and win them all. So,
so I mean, here's my thing that I've kind of been able to, take away, especially this off season, is the fact that Billy Napier, everyone, when he came in and hired all those people, they're like, how are you going to have this many people and, be able to overlook everything? And I think he was able to foresee with this whole NIL thing and the era of the transfer portal. It's a 24/7, 365-day job that you got to be out there, be on the ground, and, be communicating with people. And the only way to really do that is to have a lot of people in the program and be able to be around. And, the fact of the matter is that they've just done a great job ever since that they've gone to campus here of, marketing, the Gator brand and how they want to bring it back. And the coolest thing to me about this whole, the future recruits, we're bringing in is DJ Lagway, 2024 5-star recruit, kind of I guess you could say the leader of that 2024 recruiting class. He's one of the biggest components for recruiting as well. If you go on Twitter, go on his Instagram or anything like that on social media, he's the first to be, sending shout outs to other recruits who may have Florida in their top 4 or top 5. And I think that goes a longer way than most people expect to be. He's one of the top guys in the nation at one of the best positions. So the fact of the matter is, I think that Billy Napier has just done a great job of getting people to buy in and, be committed to the program. So I think that everything's moving in the right direction. I think that, it still might take a year or two to get his guys in and, get everything going. But, it's going in the right direction. And then with basketball, the Riley Kugel thing, that was the first stepping stone into, building a good team that can compete, not only in the SEC, but in the country. And now we were able to bring in 2 of the top guys, a 7'1" guy from Marshall. I know, watching Florida State, a lot of people over the years have been like, why can't we get those 7-foot guys? Why can't we get those big guys? And then we got Walter Clayton, a guy from Iona under Rick Pitino. And I was doing some digging today. He was actually the only guy in the NCAA tournament this year to score 20 points against UConn. So he's a guy that can score, and he can score with the best of them. So all in all, a good week for Florida and basketball.
Yeah, well said. That's very good. All right, Kyle, you got to go to bed. You got to get up early tomorrow and go to class, okay?
You can't it's past my bedtime. My mom would be mad at me.
Yeah, Mama's going to be mad. She has your cookies and milk ready, so go ahead. Hey, good job this week, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, thanks for the
Thank you, guys.
And you got a story.
I'll see you guys at the Florida Blue game.
You have a story on Florida Victorious, I think, too, on Gator Bait, right?
Yeah, I'll be posting it right when I get off. So while everyone's about to go to bed, you can read the story on the new leading NIL entity in the University of Florida.
You and your mate Matt are turning it out, man. Keep up the good work. All right.
Awesome. I'll see you guys Thursday.
All right, Kyle Curtis. All right. Good.
Hey, Kyle.
All right, man. You want to talk about some of these answers or what?
Yeah, nobody's even close. I'm starting to feel bad. I'm just
2 straight weeks.
I'm stumped. No, not last week. Somebody got it, but yeah, it's starting to. You got to get in your bag a little bit for this answer.
Well, hold it over one more week. Well, they'll find it out by then. Surely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually headed out the country for the next couple of weeks. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're gonna be you're goofing off this next week. That's right. Have a wonderful trip.
Yeah. Next couple of weeks.
We won't see you Thursday night either, right? So.
Unfortunately, I'll hopefully hopefully I can stream it and watch it.
Yeah, we're going to
because
have
I'm
Eddie
sure I'll come
Rojas
back.
on in an early edition, and then at the game, we're going to
Okay.
try to get friends on during the game, and we'll have we'll probably have Ben Troop on with Eddie Rojas and go from there. So we'll have to go without you while you're on the south of France, eating bonbons and drinking French wine.
Yeah. So the
Beautiful.
answer
Mm-hmm.
would be one Carlos Alvarez, who was a guest on the Buddy Martin show.
Was, yeah.
I think a year or so ago, and then Demarcus Robinson.
Haven't had him.
Name from the past with 15 catches each.
What about Richey? Didn't he tie that record?
No, Richey. No, I think next was Travis McGriff.
Yeah, that was a season.
Yeah, Travis McGriff was 13 was next. So it's Alvarez against Miami and Robinson against Kentucky in the swamp. And I can't remember, it was the overtime game.
Yeah,
where they went into overtime with Kentucky.
But Alvarez would do that back when they didn't throw the ball that much, and the last all those
right.
years was amazing. He was an amazing player.
Right.
Well, listen, you have a wonderful trip. We'll miss you, but we want you to enjoy yourself and relax and treat your queen like a queen, Marcia.
Yeah,
and,
she's fired up. She can't wait.
Michael Burton wants to know what year Robinson. I can't remember.
I'm gonna say 12, maybe. 2012, 11.
Google it, Michael. Google it. So.
Yeah.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself. Good night. Good job as usual.
All righty.
Thanks for all your hard work, and send me a postcard from the south of France.
I got you.
Goes Lauren Meadows. Good night. All right, folks. Another good show tonight. Thank you for all your participation. We do appreciate that very, very much. I want to tell you about my tower again before we go off the air. More and more people are recognizing with the cost of food, finding a way to grow some of your own is really, not only is it more economical long term, even though you have to pay for this by the month as you go, it also is healthier. And as we get down to the nitty gritty in years to come, who knows how tough it will be to get free produce. Well, you can get your own right here. This is indoor. They make them outdoors too, by the way. I don't have the outdoor, and I don't want to deal with bugs and all that sort of stuff. It's right here in my office, and it's a water tank, and it lights up every night. Laurie told me tonight, takes less than like a cigarette lighter to light it up for the night. And that it's LED lighting. And the water is automatically pumped from the tank. You fill it once every 2 weeks. And it waters and lights and keeps it green. Got to sing to them once in a while, which is, of course, what I do. Not. So that's what it looks like. And we're going to have more of these on and show you more of them. Again, I brag on my cooking here because this is what I made. Actually, I didn't cook the meat. My wife did. But anyway, I take credit for it. And you make yourself a nice green salad and all those veggies in there. I don't think the tomatoes came out of there. We bought those. And then you get yourself a nice piece of lean, perhaps organic beef. You put it right on top of that. That is a delicious and healthy meal. So if you're like me and trying to find ways not to eat, food that's bad for you, this is one way. If you want to know more information, you can DM me. I'm told, Laurie finally told me, buddytowers.com will tell you how, if you want to get involved, like Ben Troop's mother wants to buy one. You buy it, pay for it by the month, and then at the end of the year it's paid for. And then if you sign others up, you get credit and you can make yourself a little money too. That's it. BuddyTowers.com. That's how you do that right there. Okay. Then finally, I can't say enough about my friends at RentStar. Not only are they loyal supporters of the program and this community, they're also very smart people, and they've done some smart things for our community in terms of help. I'm just going to tell you this, and you're not supposed to ad lib, but, when you're talking about these biomedical companies, they have to know what kind of prescriptions and things they need to do to treat us. And when they have their locals participating in that, and they can do these testing, they can make it more specific to this area, the indigenous to their area. So they have these trials, clinical trials, at WinStar. They've had more than 700 of them since 1998. And then they share the information with the big companies, and that's how they decide how to make their medications. So if you want to be a part of that, you can go to their website, winstar.net, and they'll explain to you how you can participate, maybe get even compensated for time and travel. And they have a high-quality patient-centered clinical research facility. And they have cutting-edge technology there, and they can do research on things like Alzheimer's, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia, etc. Things that affect us. So, again, check them out. Go to winstar.net. They're really good people, and they do a terrific service for us. WinStar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you to David Whitley tonight, and also to Lauren Meadows and to Kyle Curtis. And thank you to you for listening and watching. We're back tomorrow night with more. We'll have David Molchan and Zach Albaverdi. Tune us in tomorrow night, same time, same station.